So what happened to elites in ODST? Well, if you're the observant type, you'd know they're dead. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. Bye-bye.
It's classified.
Okay, no, but seriously, what happened to them? A lot of things, quite frankly. So on top of being massacred, it seems that elites were originally meant to be in ODST, as people have modded them into the game, and surprise, surprise, they're hostile towards the player, but on top of that, they're also hostile towards the Covenant. So this reveals to us that elites were kind of meant to be a third faction in ODST that we'd come across. Now, how all this would happen, we don't really know. There's not a lot of information surrounding this, and Bungie has never really given a definitive answer on it, so it might be one of those questions we just have forever. So the reason I wanted to cover this is because I haven't really seen people talk about this outside of like iceberg videos, and then people asking like the odd question in the comments. So it's not really like this widely discussed thing, and I think it's because the community doesn't really have an incredible interest for it. Personally, I do, because I think it's amazing to think of what could have happened if elites were a third faction in ODST. Like, my personal fanfiction is that imagine playing Tyari Plaza and you face, you know, the Covenant in like their normal waves, like with elites, brutes, jackals, and grunts, but like halfway through the level, you just see this squad of elites massacred by brutes. Like, that would have been sick as hell. You cannot tell me that. That'd be sick, imagine. But excitement aside, let's jump into this and kind of discuss why elites weren't in ODST. I think the most obvious reason has to be the AI. I mean, let's think about it. As a third faction, the elites would have to be worked in really, really well. It's not as simple as the Flood, where you just have them rush both Marines and Covenant and then take over their corpses to fight you, the player. With the elites, it would have had to essentially multitask between you and all the Covenant forces that are around you. Bungie had to essentially rework the AI for Halo 3 ODST because the game was taking place in like this open worldish area of New Mombasa, so they had to account for how the Covenant would react to your attacks from various angles. Just throw elites into the mix, and now you have this even crazier scenario where what if the elites come across a Covenant patrol and then you stumble around, and then they have to figure out who do they prioritize, the Covenant or you? At the end of the day, they're going to die. So it really must have shaken up development for at least a tiny bit. On top of all that, this game had a lot of time constraints. I mean, ODST wasn't really meant to be a full game to begin with. It kind of just became one. And by December of 2008, the game wasn't even fully finished, which was really close to launch anyways. So it's easy to see how Bungie probably looked at elites and said, yeah, no, they're not worth the effort. Let's just scrap them all together, just throw their corpses in Tyari Plaza, and let's call it a day. Plus, the game is under the Halo 3 brand, which for a lot of people, Halo 3 was their first Halo. So maybe not having prior knowledge of the franchise, kind of seeing friendly elites in Halo 3, then playing ODST and having elites as hostiles would have been really interesting, and I don't think people would have been used to that. Furthermore, being under the Halo 3 brand, they really wanted to prioritize brutes as the main antagonist for the, Covenant, because truth favored the brutes. It's just that simple. They wanted them to be the flagship enemy of the Covenant, and I don't see how elites being an ODST would have really helped emphasize that. Yeah, I mean, brutes are killing elites, but at the end of the day, the elites are still there. And considering that even by December of 2008, a lot of voice lines were still missing for the UNSC and Covenant, Bungie probably didn't want to go through the effort of also recording lines for the elites. Another reason why they probably said, they're not worth it. Let's just move on. Lastly, this is kind of like my personal reasoning for it, and that's just that a lot of it must have come to narrative conflicts. If you think about it, the elites being in Halo 3 ODST wouldn't have really served much to the plot, considering that it's a pretty simple one, just about finding your squad and getting out of the city, finding that there's this cool little alien squid dude who's gonna like have a freaking smoke with Johnson later. The elites being worked in there wouldn't really do much, and they kind of would have been really unnecessary. But I do have to admit, it would have been sick as hell to see the elites like get massacred in real time. Like, okay, look, okay, never mind. That makes me sound horrible. It's not like that at all. I just think part of me would have really liked to see the Great Schism happen in real time. I think that just on its own is a concept that I can get behind any day of the week. But I mean, yeah, that's kind of all I have. Let me know if there's anything you have in regards to this topic, since It's not really something that's discussed, and hopefully with this video, people kind of talk about it a little bit more, just because I think it would have been really interesting to see how elites work in ODST if they were officially included. This was my first Halo video on the channel, at least like my first commentary one, so if you're interested, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for future content. I hope you guys stick around because as we're going towards Halo Infinite, I'll be sure to make more videos, and hopefully even after, you can expect some. So yeah, with all that said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.